Hello, and today on the Atomic Bomb. No, I'm just kidding. Hello, guys. Today on the Atomic Bomb, we're going over my British strategy. Now, Britain is a very interesting power in this game. They have a massive, massive navy, a huge empire to protect, but not too many forces to protect it. So they really got to position themselves smart. Now, let's get right into the British papers here. So they start off with 11 IPP, which is actually really good for a power not at wartime income on the Allied side. So that's definitely going to help them out, and they can get up to 24 income, which is actually not that great, but they start rearming in July 1939, so they get a D12 roll per turn to increase their income, plus their other peacetime bonuses. So they should be able to get up to that 24 pretty quickly, which isn't great, but they'll start getting the money quickly, which helps them out. They have some wartime bonus income, basically for strategic territories. They have their victory objectives right here. Now let's get right into these. So basically, contain communism basically means USSR doesn't have any land west of eastern Poland, and they don't control any of those key straits right there. So that actually should be pretty easy. Then it just means you have to have a D-Day pretty quickly and grab all of Germany. Maintain the empire is basically just controlling strategic objectives like South Africa, Cairo, Aden. So we'll just want to put some militia on there. Aden's right there, South Africa's down there, and then Cairo's up there. So that's how you're going to want to get that objective. And then contain fascism. Germany and Italy are within their original boundaries, so basically they don't control any new land zones. So that's a little hard to do, but if you wipe them off the map or you just begin to crush in on them, they should be able to. You should be able to quickly get that, especially in Africa, and especially in Italy's case. If you can take back France and Africa, Italy should struggle to get any new land zones, but you'll have to watch that because in the last term they could grab like Yugoslavia, for example, and then just try and get that block you from getting that objective. And then Mediterranean securities. You have to have twice as many capital ships in the Med as the Italians do. Or you control Gibraltar, Suez Canal, and Malta. So basically, if you control Gibraltar, Suez, and Malta, that is likely that you'll have naval superiority anyway, because if the Italians had naval superiority, it's actually pretty easy to take Gibraltar, Malta, or Suez. So just try and crush the Italian Navy with that one. Bring a bunch of ships in, pound them to death. Their Navy's not very modern and should be easy to crush. And then there's the FEC example and the ANZAC example, victory objectives, and I will go into those. And then let's actually move down the page to their overview right here. So the overview is actually pretty simple. There's their home country right there. They started peace with all nations in 1936. And then they can't really surrender. They can move their capital to Ottawa, South Africa, Calcutta, Sydney. So basically, they can just move their capital wherever. So you don't want to have a sea line. London is the best capital. You know, if you move to Ottawa, you're so much further away. I honestly would recommend if you have to move your capital, you move it to Ottawa because it's the closest to the European theater, but yeah, such a disadvantage of having to move it. Not game over, but definitely going to hurt you, so protect London at all costs. And then moving on to the next page here, double-sided, saves paper. Saving the environment one paper at a time. The Dutch territories. When the Axis declare war on the Netherlands, place a British roundel on all Dutch territories, and Britain receives all income from these once at war. So when they collect this income, they can also distribute it between the Far East Command and ANZAC as they see fit. So that's really, really powerful, because these Dutch territories have a ton of income here. And, like, let's say ANZAC's struggling. You send a bunch of income to ANZAC. Let's say FEC is on the brink of collapse. Then you send some money there to help them against the Japanese crush. So there's a ton of stuff you can do with that. So that's a really powerful ability. Canadian factory is Great Britain may lend lease money and equipment from the United States at any Canadian factory site. Britain may build major factories in Canada. So that is a pretty useful ability there, you know, because Canada was closely tied with Britain. Then island nation. Basically, their income can be blockaded if all the land zones around them are blockaded. So just want to have naval superiority there. And then they can build colonial infantry for 4 IPP in any of their colonies without a factory. So those are really useful. And then they can't really declare on whoever they want because they're not fascists. They kind of have to wait to get some income. Their build charts are pretty similar to everyone else. Now let's get onto their setup chart here. So they start off with actually a pretty good setup. They have a ton of facilities, a shit army, a shit air force, but they do have a massive navy. So that's really what their advantage is here. And as I just killed South Africa, I'm just going to put that right back on. So basically, as Britain, you want to try and have naval superiority, but let me show you what I mean by that. You're not going to be able to blockade London from a sea line attack. You're not going to be able to put enough ships in every zone bordering London to prevent a sea line attack. Germany's navy will break through on one of those zones because, you know, on the turn they declare war on you, they can move through those zones until they declare war. So, what you're going to want to do is put infantry on London, and then just concentrate your fleet in one area so it can't be sunk. That means if Germany moves out its fleet, you crush it. And then also you want to move your fleet down here to the Med and just crush the Italian Navy as quick as possible. So you want to kill the Italian Navy so they don't really have a chance to build up. And actually, speaking of building up, let's go to your stages of units here. So stage 4, basically beginning of the game, I recommend you build infantry and air force. So basically infantry, you want to build those in Cairo, Transjordan, Aden, this theater of Africa here that I can't think to name, London. You want to build them in all those strategic locations to try and hold those positions. Just infantry and that'll be good. It's hard to push against infantry. There's such value on defense, so that's why I recommend those. And then airplanes in London. If you have the money, build a few of those in London to try and prevent you from getting strategically bombed, which can be really hurtful. Stage 3 units, I recommend you build some medium and light armor and a few transports. The transports are starting to build up for the D-Day invasion, and the light and medium armor to help push back in Africa. You've held the line, now you start pushing back against the Italians. And then stage 2 is where you do your D-Day. You buy your marines, you buy your artillery, you buy some transports, and then you just hit Germany with everything you have. Then the final stage, you're going to buy some strategic bombers to help out your units, strategic bomb facilities to make it easier for your units in D-Day to advance, and some mechanized infantry to support your units in France. Now let's talk about D-Day here. As the UK, you want to probably do the first attack, then have the Americans follow up. And you want to land anywhere in France, and then just begin to push on to Paris, and then just push on to Berlin. That should be your goal. And you also want to split. You want to split from Paris, send a big force to Berlin, send a smaller force to Rome, because Italy probably won't have a ton of forces there. And then just take those two, and that should win you the game easily. And that can really help out with your victory objectives and just securing the game. And the strategic bombers at the end, just bomb their territory. And then let's go to technology here. I recommend Britain gets advanced anti-submarine warfare, because that allows them to hunt down German U-boats easier. And even though they start with radar, I recommend they get that, because the anti-submarine warfare makes it so much easier to hunt down submarines. And with Germany's U-boats on the prowl, cutting convoy lines, you're going to want to have that to take those down. Now, Britain is a very interesting power. Their naval superiority is unmatched, and their fleet will be stretched throughout the game. Their fleet's going to have to be stretched to fight the Italians, to fight up against the Germans. So just position it smartly, have the Americans subsidize your fleet with their ships, and you should do all right. So basically, remember, protect your strategic points, crush the Italian Navy, crush the German Navy, push them back to Berlin and Rome. Oh, I was going to say Turin, because that would have rhymed. So that's all for me. Did I make any mistakes? I probably did. Subscribe, because that helps out the channel a lot, and comment below. See you guys soon.